Ladies and gentlemen, it is time for my official NCAA March Madness 2022 bracket predictions, going through the entire tournament, doing the little ESPN tournament challenge. We're going to go through the entire bracket and fill it all out. Let's get started. We've got the first game from the West region. It's the number 1 overall seed Gonzaga Bulldogs taking on Georgia State. And I am going to have Georgia State pulling off I'm kidding. I'm picking Gonzaga to win that game. The first 8v9 game, it's going to be Boise State and Memphis. Really interesting game. I think Boise State's a little underseeded. They seem like a 6 seed. Them and Colorado State. It feels like Colorado State should be an 8 seed and Boise State should be a 6 seed. Although Memphis, they've got the talent. They played really well towards the end of the year, but I do have Boise State advancing. 5v12 matchup, the typical 5v12 upsets. You've got UConn and New Mexico State. It seems like New Mexico State is a 12 seed every single year. Like every year they're a 12 seed, but I am not going to pick the upset in this one. I'm going to go UConn. I think they had 23 wins. The Big East is full of a bunch of average teams, but I think UConn is a pretty good team. Next, we've got Arkansas and Vermont. And everyone is picking Vermont in this game, and I am too. I love Vermont. This is a good basketball team. I'm taking Vermont to pull off the upset. Next, we've got Alabama taking on either Rutgers or Notre Dame. I have Rutgers beating Notre Dame, but then losing to Alabama. Alabama's a good team. They're underrated. They've had the toughest schedule in college basketball. I really like Alabama. Next, we've got Texas Tech and Montana State. Really tough draw if you're Montana State. Texas Tech is an unbelievable team. They are going to move on to the second round. Next, Michigan State and Davidson. Really lucky draw here for Michigan State. Davidson is by far the worst 10 seed. Michigan State and Izzo get a win in March. They will be taking on Duke or Cal State Fullerton. They made the tournament. I do have Duke winning that and moving on. That is the first left or west region of the bracket. Let's move on down to the east. It's going to be Baylor taking on Norfolk State. And I am going to go with the University Baylor to win this game. Next, we've got North Carolina and Marquette. I'm telling you, these Big East teams, they're all average. It's just a complete cluster of average, and I like North Carolina in this game. I love North Carolina, the ability to score the basketball with North Carolina. Love it. Next, we've got St. Mary's taking on either Wyoming or Indiana. It's disrespectful that Indiana is in the first 4. They really should be in the tournament regularly. I am going to go with Indiana to beat Wyoming and then Indiana to beat St. Mary's. St. Mary's, veteran team. I respect them. I understand it, but I just can't pick them. I think Indiana gets the job done. They get the win, and they will be taking on UCLA, who will defeat the University of Akron out of the MAC. Next, it's going to be Texas and Virginia Tech. And Virginia Tech, they win the ACC. It's so unbelievable. I love Virginia Tech here against Texas. Texas is decent. But again, it's tough to see with these Big 12 teams. How really good are they? I don't know. Virginia Tech's on a roll right now. I'm rolling with them to win that game. And then Purdue and Yale. Really good matchup here for Purdue. Yale is probably the worst 14 seed in the bracket. I've got Purdue winning this one very comfortably. This is probably the most fun matchup of the first round. Murray State and San Francisco, and I am going with San Francisco to beat Murray State. Kentucky and St. Peter's. St. Peter's probably the worst 15 seed in the tournament. I have Kentucky winning that game. That is the East region. Now moving up to the South, we've got the University of Arizona taking on either Wright State or Bryant. I've got Wright State beating Bryant, and then I've got Wright State beating Arizona. No, I'm kidding. Arizona's going to win that game as the 1 seed. Next, it's going to be Seton Hall and TCU. This is your typical 8v9 matchup. It's just average on top of average on top of average. Now, these are good teams. I don't want to be disrespectful. Let's not disrespect them. I've got Seton Hall. They've got an unbelievable pedigree. We've got another 5v12 matchup. You know what? Houston is getting disrespected. People don't think they're very good. They have no big wins. I think they get the job done. I think they get the win, and they will take on either Illinois or Chattanooga. This is a really, really unfortunate draw for Chattanooga. I like Chattanooga a lot. I wanted them to pick that. wanted to pick them in an upset. It's just not going to happen. It's just simply not going to happen. Illinois, I'm very high on Illinois. I've got them winning. Next, we've got Colorado State taking on Michigan. Michigan did not deserve this good of a draw, at least in the first round. I really thought they were going to put Michigan in the first four because what are they, 17 and 14? Getting Colorado State, I believe they're 2.5-point favorites in this game. I got them winning this one. Hunter Dickinson, they've got talent. They've got a few 5 stars. Michigan does. So I think they will win that game and advance as long as Juwan Howard doesn't punch anyone. As long as Juwan Howard doesn't punch anyone. Next, we've got Tennessee and Longwood. Tennessee, everyone's pissed. They're not a 2 seed. I'm going Tennessee to win that game over Longwood. Ohio State and Loyola Chicago. I'm so sick of hearing about Loyola Chicago, guys. E.J. Liddell, the National Player of the Year. Jamari Wheeler, Defensive Player of the Year. And Chris Holtmann is pissed. He's pissed. He wants revenge. He's going to go deep this year in the tournament. This Ohio State team is loaded. They've been a little injured. They're getting back on track. They're looking better and better. They almost beat Penn State in the first round or the second round of the Big Ten tournament. I've got them facing Villanova, who I think will defeat Delaware fairly easily. That'll be a really boring game. Villanova, Delaware. That game's got 72-51 written all over it. Let's move on down to the Midwest region. It's going to be Kansas taking on either Texas Southern or I believe that's Texas A&M Corpus Christi. Texas A&M didn't get to the tournament, but Texas A&M Corpus Christi did. I have Texas Southern beating Texas A&M Corpus Christi, and then I've got the University of Kansas winning that one against the 16 seed. Next, we've got the 8v9 matchup. It's San Diego State taking on Creighton, and I'm just sick of these Big East teams. I really am. I got San Diego State. San Diego State, really good on defense, horrible on offense. If you want a fun fact about them, that's what they are. Iowa and Richmond. Iowa should have been better than a 5 seed, but Richmond honestly probably should have been worse than a 12 seed, so I got Iowa winning this game. It'll be a blowout. Iowa scores 90 points a game. It's crazy. Providence and South Dakota State. So this is the weirdest game in round 1 just in terms of seed line. You've got a 4v13 matchup, and Providence is 2-point favorites right now as a 4 seed against the 13 seed. And I've got San Diego State winning. San Diego State, I think, is 27-5 on the year. Providence is a full fraud. They're a total fraud. Providence, all their wins were close games. It's just not happening. LSU and Iowa State. Iowa State can't score, right? And that's a major problem, but I do have Iowa State. See, this is the upset region. Yeah, this is the upset region 100%. Iowa State, LSU, Will Wade, he's going to jail. Who knows? He's off the program. There's weird stuff going on right now with LSU. Iowa State, they have no offense, but they get the job done. LSU trending in the wrong direction, and they will take on Colgate. This is my major upset of round 1. It's a 14-3. Wisconsin, you take a look at their metrics, they're not very good. Give me Colgate. This is a team, they've won like 12 straight games or something. It's crazy. This is an auto lock. I think Wisconsin maybe 8 or 9 point favorites in this game. I don't know exactly, but Colgate is an auto lock for an upset. It's so obvious. And then take a look at that. This is the region of the upsets. I'm telling you guys, USC, Miami, I've got Miami. I've got Miami to beat USC. I haven't been a fan of USC. The Pac-12 watered down this year. Not very good. We all know that. And they will take on Auburn, who will defeat Jacksonville State. I got to be honest. After going through round 1, the 15 seeds this year, very weak. St. Peter's is bad. Jacksonville State is bad. Delaware and Fullerton is decent. Fullerton is a decent 15 seed. But just like normally you'll get some decent 15 seeds. Not this year. They're all really bad except Cal State Fullerton, who may put up a little bit of a fight against Duke, but I have Duke winning that. Look at that matchup. Wow. Michigan State and Duke for a spot in the Sweet 16. All right, so these are the round of 32 games for a chance to go to the Sweet 16. Gonzaga taking on Boise State. I've got Gonzaga. Gonzaga is like the college basketball version of what Alabama football is at this point. UConn and Vermont. I've got Vermont. Get a little Cinderella 13 seed. They're the exact type of 13 seed I could see making the Sweet 16. We've got Alabama and Texas Tech. I do have Texas Tech advancing. I think they're the best 3 seed in the tournament. They are headed to the Sweet 16. And then, how about this blue blood battle I was talking about? It's Coach K versus Izzo. And I don't think Coach K is going to go out like this. I really think Duke will at least advance. They will take on a very tough Texas Tech team. Coach K makes the Sweet 16 in the final year of his coaching career. Next, we've got Baylor and North Carolina. And guys, I will say Baylor dealing with some injuries. I am picking North Carolina to defeat Baylor. Just not feeling it this year with Baylor. You know, they won the whole thing last year. It's not going to happen again. They're due for a bit of a letdown. It happens this year. North Carolina, they score a lot. Love them. Love them. Love how they're coming into this tournament. They get the job done, and they upset Baylor. Next, we have, looks like Indiana is who I picked, taking on UCLA, and I actually do have Indiana. I have Indiana advancing. That's not Wyoming. It's Indiana. They are advancing to the Sweet 16. They win the first 4, kind of like UCLA did last year. You win the first 4. You win your next 2 or 3 games. You go on a massive run. Indiana, they are a wild card in this tournament. Virginia Tech and Purdue. I like Purdue. Virginia Tech's going to have a lot of momentum. I understand that, but Purdue is too good. Offensively talented. Love them. San Francisco and Kentucky. I am going to go with Kentucky. Fun little matchup, but I'm taking Kentucky. Taking the chalk there. So that sets up a 2v3. That's an 8v12. A 3v2 and a 1v13. And let's go to the south side of things. It's going to be Arizona going up against Seton Hall, and I'm gonna pick Arizona here. I'm gonna be normal. Take the 1 seed. Let the 1 seed advance to the Sweet 16, and they will take on Illinois, who defeats Houston. Next, we've got Michigan taking on Tennessee, and I do have Tennessee defeating the University of Michigan, and then we've got Ohio State and Villanova, and I've got E.J. Liddell. Malachi Branham and Ohio State advancing to the Sweet 16 in a bit of an upset over Villanova. I could very easily see this happening. There's going to be upsets, guys. Don't be afraid to pick them. Next, we've got Kansas taking on San Diego State. Kansas advances. That one's fairly easy. San Diego State just doesn't have the offense. Iowa and South Dakota State. Fun game. High scoring. Love it. But Iowa, I love Iowa's offense so much. Iowa State and Colgate in an 11v14 second round matchup, and I've got Colgate winning. Iowa State's not going to be able to score enough to keep up with them, and they will take on the University of Auburn, going with the 2 seed to advance into the Sweet 16. We're on to the Sweet 16 now. This is a chance to make it to the Elite 8. It's Gonzaga, it's Vermont, and it's going to be Gonzaga. Let's be honest about it. Let's be real. Gonzaga, they will end up taking on Texas Tech in the Elite 8. Gonzaga versus Texas Tech, as Texas Tech beats Duke and sends Duke home. Duke, once again, just a little bit too young. Next, we've got North Carolina taking on Indiana. And I do have Indiana making their Cinderella run from the first 4 to the Elite 8. What a historic job by them. They will be taking on the University of Purdue. Interesting Big Ten matchup there. Very interesting. That is Indiana and Purdue. And then in the South region, Arizona and Illinois. I am going to go with the University of Arizona to make the Elite 8 as a 1 seed. They will defeat Illinois in the Elite 8, and they will take on the University of Tennessee. So it will be Arizona versus Tennessee, Gonzaga versus Texas Tech, and then down here we have Kansas and versus a 5 seed Iowa, and I love Iowa. I've got Iowa advancing to, what are we on the, yeah, this is still the Elite 8. Still the Elite 8. Iowa beats Kansas. Kansas, it seems like they're the same thing every year. They just, seems like they never have a superstar. They're a really good, well-rounded team, but Keegan Murray, that Iowa offense, Bohannon, the 3-pointers, oh my goodness. They will end up taking on Colgate in the Elite 8. What an unbelievable run for Colgate this is. They've made it all the way to the Elite 8, maybe going to the Final Four, maybe another Loyola Chicago. We'll have to see. The Elite 8 matchups, it's going to be Gonzaga and Texas Tech, and I've got Gonzaga, the number 1 seed, advancing to the Final Four. Moving on down, I don't know why I did that. Moving on down, it's going to be Indiana and Purdue, and I do have Purdue winning this game as a 3 seed advancing, so that will set up the first Final Four game. Gonzaga, the number 1 overall seed, taking on Purdue. From the what is this, South region, we've got an Elite Eight game of Arizona and Tennessee, and I do have the University of Tennessee advancing to the Final Four. They're going to take that disrespect of being a 3 seed. It's going to be a blessing in disguise. You take a look at the region. It's a very easy region. The 2 seed is Villanova. The 1 seed is Arizona. These are winnable games for Tennessee. They advance, and they will end up facing the University of Iowa. So this is the Final Four, and it's going to be Gonzaga going up against Purdue, and I've got Purdue advancing to the national championship game. They will be tagging on either Tennessee or Iowa. Is it going to be a Big Ten rematch again with Purdue and Iowa? It's not going to be. Tennessee is going to advance to the national championship, and these are 2 3 seeds in the national championship, Purdue and Tennessee. I love the 3 line this year. It's so strong. Also, Texas Tech's another 3 seed, yeah. So the 3 line is unbelievable. National championship, the actual pick, here it is, Purdue, Tennessee, and I have Matt Painter and Purdue breaking through and winning a national championship for the Big Ten. This would be the Big Ten's first national title since the year 2000, I believe, when Michigan State won it. And you know what? You got to do something like this. You got to go higher scoring. You're going to have to go higher scoring on this. Let me see. Something along those lines, 87-79. Purdue gets it done. Doesn't go to overtime. It's just a higher scoring game that gets dragged out at the end. Tennessee starts fouling, and Purdue hangs on by making some clutch free throws. This is my official bracket, guys. The upsets would be Vermont. What are they in the Sweet 16? I think there's a lot of people that probably have Vermont in the Sweet 16, though. A lot of people probably have Michigan winning. But I would say this side, you take a look at a region, the Midwest region. I've got an 11 seed, 14 seed, 10 seed, 13 seed. This could be the upset region, and Colgate, they're going to completely crash the party. They've got a great setup with Wisconsin and then either LSU or Iowa State. Very winnable games. Even an Auburn team that's kind of struggling towards the end of their season. Love the current setup Colgate has. And then you take a look at Purdue. I just feel like the Big Ten finally gets on the board with a national title. They're certainly due at this point. Gonzaga, this year they made, they didn't win it last year, but they made the title game last year. I do not think they're going to win the title game this year. Love Purdue's chances. Love Tennessee using the fact that they were a 3 seed as disrespect, as motivation. They end up making the national title. And then Iowa, the offense is unbelievable. The defense is going to be good enough. You take a look at their run. Richmond, very easy game. I believe they're 10.5 point favorites now. That line got bumped up. Either Providence, that's a free ride. If I was Iowa, I'd probably rather want to face Providence than South Dakota. I'm not even lying. I'd rather want to face Providence. I would rather want Providence in the second round than South Dakota State. That's how bad Providence is. But they're going to beat South Dakota State. And then Kansas, that's a very strong 1 seed. We understand that, but they're beatable. Score more points. It's not like Kansas is this super offensive team, and then you got maybe a team like Colgate, or even if you have to face the 2 seed in Auburn, you could win that one. So I love Iowa's chances to make it to the Final Four. This is a realistic Final Four. Maybe people saying you should pick 2 number 1 seeds. I have a 1 seed, I have a 3 seed, another 3 seed, and a 5 seed. I like this bracket, guys. Make sure, we'll have to see where I finish. What do you have to submit this thing? Win a little gift card. That's probably a scam. We'll go ahead and submit it, guys. That's going to do it for this video. Make sure, there it is right here. So here it is. It's official, 0 percentile. We'll see what I finish. And they give me a little ribbon at the end. How nice of them. See how the animation won't even work. Guys, that's going to do it for this video. Make sure you're following me on Twitter. Link to that's always in the description. I'm, of course, the Depressed Ginger. Thank you for watching.